Hello there, welcome back to Simon's Shed, and I'm very on brand today as you can see. Welcome to another layout update on Severn Valley Railway, which is my N-gauge version of part of the Severn Valley Railway. Hope you're all well and hope you're all safe, and yeah, if you're in England, it's welcome to lockdown number 2. So I've been using that time to do a bit of work on the layout and do a bit of filming and yeah, make the best of the situation really. So yeah, as you will have noticed, we do have some merchandise now. Mine's come and it's very good. I'm happy to recommend it. Bit of fun really. So if you click on the shop tab on the YouTube page, you should see that. I'm going to add more sort of generic things that don't necessarily have the Simon Shed logo on as well. But for now we've just got mugs and t-shirts and so on. More importantly, coming up on the layout, sorting out the end boards, roads, and housing highs and lows. So yeah, a little bit of a roller coaster this one. There's some things I wasn't entirely happy with, but I get more positive as the update goes on. Things did improve, so let's see what I've been up to. Plywood supplies have arrived. I've got a bit of 9mm ply, and that's for the back scene. So I've just put some pencil marks on where that needs to be cut, and it's going to be the same height as this blue border so that it blends in with that. Across here down to there, and I'm going to come this way a little bit. I've not decided how far down here I'm going to come. Not too far because I think it'll look a bit naff, but the idea was this track is not sort of part of the scene, so I wanted to make that clear, but I might do that another way, i.e. putting a sort of temporary black cover box somehow over all of this that's removable. So I think at one point I was planning to come all the way down here with the board, but I think that'll just hide too much of the scene, the street scene at the end, but I will come around the corner a little bit, and I think I'll stop somewhere around here. So let's get the wood cut, and I'll do try and find the blue paint and do a similar job to this. So there is the end board, if you like, the end of the scene. Couple of bits of plywood. I managed to find a bit of angled wood that made it easier to screw these together at 90 degrees, and I've just put a bit of wood on the wall there just as a stopper, and down there just to sort of lock it in position. I think that'll look good from the sort of camera shots. I'll sort of hide a little bit of the track over there. I'm just in two minds as to whether to shorten this a bit, because it looks good on camera, but I'm not sure whether it'll hide a lot of the scenery from myself when I'm playing with the layout. So I might shorten that a little bit and probably angle it more like that. But for now, I'm happy with that, and started thinking about behind the bridge there. We'll sort of need to hide that gap with lots of trees, so I've started on that, and also had a good tidy up as well, which if you saw the live stream, yeah, thanks for watching that. That was sort of prompted by the live stream. Had a good tidy up so I could actually get some trains running. So let's crack on. What are we going to crack on with exactly? Well, we've got the back scene, so we need the street to go against that now, and that is Comberton Hill. So we've got these houses and shops here. There are more further down, but let's focus on these for now. I decided to use the ScaleScenes kit to try and have a go at building those. So the T008A low relief house fronts and shops. Now you'll notice they only have 2 stories, whereas the Comberton Hill ones have 3. So I decided to make life really difficult for myself and try and modify the ScaleScenes kit to have 3 stories, and also the Comberton Hill shops and houses are a lot narrower, a bit narrower than the ScaleScenes kit, so that required some adjustments as well. So long story short, I'm not entirely happy with the results. Started off all guns blazing, as is often the case with these ScaleScenes kits, and then kind of ran out of patience and ran out of talent a little bit, and I'm not entirely happy with the results, but I'm going to use it for now, and I'm going to show you the sort of slightly wonky results, because you know, I don't think it's always good to sort of hide the mistakes. It's all part of the hobby, really. It's part of the learning process. But let's have a look at what I did do. So yeah, starting with the ScaleScenes kit itself, obviously printed it out and tried to figure out how I needed to modify it. Got the tools out, a trusty craft knife, steel ruler and various glues, and all went okay at first. The initial sort of back and sidewall structure comes together quite quickly. You can see the extra 3rd story at the top where the white bits are. Easy enough, and obviously you can see there the covering layers for the front aren't going to be big enough, so we're going to need to adjust those, and a trusty cappuccino to help me along the way. Now the first bit where I started to lose my patience was there are some bay windows on the real street, and there are bay windows in the kit, however they're completely the wrong size. I had to try and make them myself. I managed to do a couple of them, and then sort of lost patience because it's really fiddly. You can see how small they are by the size of the pound coin. I found the best way to do it, if you are going to attempt anything like this, is to sort of score the clear film. I used sort of transparency printer paper, so it's the sort of printer, the stuff you can send through your inkjet printer to print on a transparent sheet, and I scored it in the right places and bent it into that sort of U shape of the bay window, then flattened it back out and stuck little just plain paper strips for the door for the window frames, and it's very fiddly and it takes ages, but that one didn't turn out too badly. So built the front, and this is where the wonkiness sort of starts. The top's not too bad, but you can see the bay windows and the doors are pretty wonky. I did try and straighten some of those up, and we've got a cutout for the shop front on the right there as well, just because I wanted to represent that. But basically barely anything from the kit cover layers was usable, so I had to sort of make it all myself, including the sort of window ledges and brick coverings, and we made the shop front. Again, there are shop fronts in the kit, but they don't match up in any way to what I wanted, so I customized it again and built a completely custom one. This is it's always benefit of hindsight. I would have made the shop front a bit longer to go right to the end of the wall. I didn't realise how thick the end walls were going to be at this point. And as always with ScaleScenes kits, you get to the end of it and you think, I could make a really good attempt at that if I threw it away and started all over again. But so I added some interiors for the shops, because there's a lot of sort of clear glass at the front of the shops, so I thought you might be able to see through. I didn't bother with the rest of them. I've done that in the past and fully sort of detailed the interiors, and then you put the front on and you just can't see inside in N-gauge at all. So unless you've got a really big window, or you're gonna light it really well, which I may add lighting at some point to this. Personally, I wouldn't bother with detailing the interiors, unless of course you want to and you enjoy it, then you know, by all means. So that's sticking on the front and the shop front, and on go the guttering and the tiles, and they are quite cruel close-ups, I suppose, but when it's actually on the layout from a distance, I think it'll look fine for now. So yeah, that was my attempt at one of the sort of blocks of terraced houses and shops. There is another block next door, and for my own sanity, this time I've ordered a Metcalfe kit, so when that comes I'll have a go at that. But for now, let's move on to the actual road. Right, let's have a go at painting this bridge. As you can see, I've already had a go with the wrong kind of paint. I used a sort of water-based paint. I think it was just an old pot I found in the shed, and it didn't stick at all, so I managed to remove most of that. And I found some, where are we, rail match paint, which seems to be sticking very well. So yes, the real bridge is this colour on this side pretty much, and black on the insides. Let's see how we get on. So there we go. I'll let that dry, and I will give it another coat. It seems to look a bit better on camera than in real life actually, but you can see the patchiness if I tilt it like that. The real one has little white stripes going up where the joins are in the panels. We'll see. I might give that a try, but I'm not sure. So while that's drying, I think we'll try and fit it into place, do a test fit in the shed. I've now increased the height of the bridge a little bit using the cleaning wagon, as that is my sort of tallest wagon, so that can go under there now, so I'm happy with the height. Started adding a few bushes to sort of hide that gap at the back. I might sort of extend the blue down a bit further, the hole's a little bit big really, or I might put a sort of green bank somewhere behind it so that you can see that instead of the track through the gaps, but I'll figure that out. You can probably just see underneath the road we've got some sort of formers, some strengtheners to keep the shape of the hill, and it gradually comes down, and obviously we've got a lot more road and pavement, and we've got the houses and shops in place. They are currently propped up by some girder bridge sides. That's just to remind me that although roads can slope up and down, houses tend to be pretty much level, so we've got to sort of blend that in. And if you look at the real thing, there are steps up to the end house on the real thing, as you'd expect, because as I say, the houses are obviously level and the road slopes down. So I need to bear that in mind. And we've added a bit of a wall where there is a wall in real life. So I'll carry on blending that in. I've left the pavement where there are turnings into roads, so there'll be a turning there and a turning into the station there. I'll leave that for now until I know exactly where they're going to be. But I've sort of started putting in the rest of the pavements, and I've drawn a line across the road there to remind me, possibly an interesting little side project. There is a crossing there with traffic lights, so I've had a look, and there do seem to be a couple of versions of N-gauge traffic lights which we could use, so that'd be an interesting thing to put in. Not for this episode, but in the future. In the post today, the Metcalfe kit turned up, so I'm going to build that now. I won't show too much of the build. I'll do a separate video on that, I think, reviewing the sort of kit in its entirety, but looks promising in as much as it does say on the back each building is independent, so they can be used independently. Because really I'm interested in mainly the middle one. That's sort of most like the building I'm trying to represent. So it'd be interesting to see what covering is on the sides there, whether it has bricks on the side or whether I need to cover that myself. But we'll soon find out. So yeah, I'm going to crack on with building this. So that looks like the middle building. Looks like we've got a big choice of signs and frontages and so on. I've built all three of the houses from the kit, and I am a lot happier now. They've turned out really well, I think, especially well, it was the middle one I was going to use. I think I'm going to use both of these. This doesn't really fit in anywhere, and it's turned out the worst of the three in terms of the build. As you can see, I've got a bit of glue on there and got something stuck to it. Just sort of coloured it in for now as if it was like cement or something, but I can put some brick paper over that. But as I say, at the moment I don't think I need that one. It was just this one that I was going to use. And to answer the question, the sides are fine. You get brick paper on the sides. You've managed to do a reasonable job of the chimney pots. Tried to get rid of all the white edges with, I just use felt tips, but I think that's turned out really well, which is great. What I was doing just before these came in the post was I had a look at my old ScaleScenes kits, and actually they're pretty good. They're a lot better than the houses I've just built. So I can do it, and I was just trying to figure out what was going wrong. So I decided to start again, but stick to the instructions and just build the standard kit rather than trying to build my own customized bit. Now, I only got to like step 4 out of about 60, and then the Metcalfe kit turned up in the post, so I've sort of parked that for now. But it was going a lot better, the few steps that I did do, and I think it's a little bit of patience is obviously the one thing, but my prescriptions changed in my glasses and I hadn't picked up my new one, so I think that honestly that was a factor in it as well, because when I started using, you can't really see it, but you know what I mean, the helping hand with the magnifying glass, that did help a lot to get the cutting out the fiddly window openings and things, which is one of the first steps. So basically I think I'm going to park that ScaleScenes kit now because I don't really need it, but basically I'm a lot happier now and I'm really pleased with how the Metcalfe kits have turned out. Also, the bridge now looks a lot better after the second coat of black, and I'm quite pleased with those white lines. They're not bad. I managed to just use, where's it gone, a tiny brush, and I found that if you just get a tiny bit of paint on and sort of hold it like that, you can just sort of mark the lines rather than trying to paint it like that. It just goes everywhere. But yeah, I did manage to put the white vertical lines in, so it will be something like that. Those two Metcalfe kits will be glued together because there's no gap, and then there is a little gap to the next set of houses, so I'll leave a little gap there, and then we have some bushes, and then we have the bridge. So I'm going to carry on with this road or hill, Comberton Hill, but yeah, this update's getting a bit long, so I think I'll leave it there. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and check out the merchandise shop page, and I'll see you soon.
Perfect.